Performing checks. Lights.
All set.
Sound.
Clear.
Stage.
We're good to go.
Let's roll.
Aim high, regardless of what people will think.
There's no single goal for entrepreneurs. They have endless.
The story of Mr. Varun Agarwal has been synonymous with these ideals.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, look at him. He's a first generation entrepreneur, filmmaker be here, author, brand ambassador of Lenovo laptops. Like, I for sure envy him. Like, he just is living the life that most of us here could just dream of.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, look at all the feathers in his hat. Co-founder of $1 million company, Alma. And then when he was just in college, Last Minute Films, a film production house, wow. And then Reticular, a social media marketing firm. And to top all of that, a best-selling author of a book called How I Braved Aunty and co-founded $1 million company. Whoa, that's just too classy.
Well, not to forget the hustle and the humongous fan base that he already has. Like, it amazes me. It is like quite outstanding the roles that he essays at the age of 27. Right? What do you think?
Unerringly, he has set a benchmark for brilliance and has raised the bar high for all the aspiring entrepreneurs.
So now, getting to the formal segment, a very good morning to one and all present here. I, Richardson Sampson,
And I, Rashika Raghuvanshi,
welcome you all to the most awaited session of Vishwapreneur 2015.
es- esteemed guests on the dais, Mr. Varun Agarwal, co-founder, Alma, Professor Dr. B.S. Karkare, Principal, VIIT, Professor Dr. R.S. Acharya, Chief Mentor, EDC, VIIT, Professor Dr. P.D. Khandekar, Head of Department, Electronics and Telecommunications, Mr. Chirag Agarwal, Convener, Vishwapreneur 15, and Mr. Saurabh Bange, President, EDC, VIIT. The deans, the faculty members, and the participants, welcome to the second day of Vishwapreneur 2015.
Before going any further, let us all welcome the star turn of today. So I request Professor Dr. P.D. Khandekar to kindly felicitate Mr. Varun Agarwal.
Everyone knows him as a visionary, a risk taker, a decision maker, and the man who braved Anu Aunty. With that being said, many of us also know him as an exemplary orator.
I'm sure that the man he is and the success stories he has, he would have put in a lot of thinking in it.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think he is more of a spontaneous person and he didn't think and did things.
So, well, our argument is never ending. So why don't we ask a guest speaker to settle it? So without any further ado, I humbly request the audience to put your hands together for a guest speaker of Vishwapreneur 15,
Mr. Varun Agarwal.
I think just getting my presentation downloaded, so you and I can chat for like 5 minutes. It's quite strange that I get called to engineering colleges to give a talk, considering I failed so many times in engineering. And it's quite fascinating to see that engineers are waking up to entrepreneurship and basically doing what they love. In fact, I was having a chat with Principal Ma'am, and she rightly pointed out that most students really do not know what they want to be. And that's a very scary thought, because 18 to 22 is when you discover yourself. It's when you discover what you really want to do in life. It's the process. You just can't wake up one day and suddenly realize what you want to do in life. It just doesn't happen like that. You have to fight it. You got to discover it. You got to study it. And for that, you need to know yourself. And nobody wants to know themselves because everybody is really busy, right? To know yourself is the greatest gift because that's when you're truly trying to find what's your purpose and what is that one talent that you're really good at. Can anyone tell me how do you know what you're truly passionate about? How do you know what your true passion is? Can anyone tell me that? The only way to discover your true passion is there something that you learned by yourself? That means you were not taught by a teacher or somebody else. You learned it by yourself and you became so good at it that you could teach it to someone else. That is true passion. Whatever that is. So you took something, you were so interested in it that you learned it yourself. You didn't wait for somebody to teach you. And once you learned it, you became so good at it that you became a teacher and you can teach someone whatever that is. Now, that can be anything. Whatever that is your true passion. The important thing to remember here is that whatever this thing is should not be associated with society, should not be associated with what your parents think about you, should not be associated with what people around you think about it. It could be anything. Because when it comes to our society, if you're not passionate about engineering or doctor, then you're not good at anything else, right? But this is what you've been sent to this earth for. It could probably be, you could be great carpenter. Now I know that you'll be like, why should I be cutting wood? But then that's your talent. You could be a great comedian and be like, how will I make money in that? I don't know yet, but since that's your talent and that's your passion, I'm pretty sure you'll make a lot of money with that. So it's really, really important that between 18 to 22, do not waste your time by just studying engineering books. In fact, you should discover yourself. And I think the coolest way to discover yourself is to travel. I think that's the most efficient way to discover who you really are. Now, by traveling, I do not mean taking a holiday in Goa. I don't mean like going to a beach in Goa and just sitting there and wondering what's going on. But traveling, I mean seeing new places by yourself, alone, going and discovering new things, talking to random people, talking to strangers, experiencing new cultures. And you don't need a lot of money to do that. You just need a backpack, a bus ticket, and India is wide enough to go anywhere you want. And if your parents are rich, well, you could backpack through Europe or South America. But travel and travel alone. And when you travel alone, you experience a lot of things about yourself. You get to see places you've never seen. You get to talk to people you've never known. And you suddenly start realizing that the small world you were living in is not small anymore. It's really, really massive. It's this beautiful planet that we've been sent to. And because of our daily lives and because of our daily routine and because of everything that we do, we forget the most important thing in life, which is to travel. Because if you haven't seen God's gift, then why even be here, right? So I think traveling is extremely important. And the Indian way of travel is probably the worst way of travel. Because the Indian way of travel is to take a holiday, go there, get drunk, abuse everyone around, litter that place, and shout and scream at people around you. That is not traveling. Traveling is just being an observer. Is going to a random place that you never thought you could go to and being like an observer, trying to see what's going on. It's like a movie, right? When you're watching a movie, you're sitting, in a hall like this and you're trying to watch the movie. That's what traveling is about. It's the whole scene that's playing right in front of you and how you try to be a part of it and how you try to, be amongst them. Go to the Northeast, go to Rajasthan, go to middle of India, go to Sri Lanka, go to Nepal, go to Bhutan. These are places that have cultures that are so unique and are so different from what we do right now, which gives you a really different perspective as to what is the meaning of you guys being here. I think the greatest miracle of life is us being born as a human being. If you consider the math, all of you all know that the universe is infinite, right? It's infinite. There is no end to the universe, right? All of you all know that, right? Your physics 101. The universe is infinite. Now, when you take a constant that is infinite and you take the probability of that infinite universe and that one planet, not even a planet, that one speck in the universe to have life. So imagine the entire earth was one big beach, or one big desert, sorry. The entire earth was one big desert. In that big desert, take one small grain of sand, that is the earth, right? That is who we are in this great sense of the universe. Now, in this small grain of sand that is earth, there is life. In this planet earth where there is life, there are millions of species. But there's one species that has the ability to think, that has the ability to write poetry, that has the ability to paint, that has the ability to go up in space, that has the ability to be passionate. That is the human race. And you are born as a human being. Now, can you do the math of the probability of you being born as a human being? You can't have a probability, right? Because there's an infinite constant, and that is the universe. So imagine the miracle of you being born as a human being. Like, even the word miracle is an understatement, that you were born as a human being. Now that you're born as a human being, it's extremely important to treat this life as a gift. And the only way to treat this life as a gift is to be passionate. Because passion is what makes us a human being. Passion is what really, really makes us who we are. You don't want to go back and, God is standing there and he's like, so what did you do? I mean, in the entire universe, there's only one planet with life and I chose you to be a human being in that. What did you do with it? And we're like, nothing much. I was born, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, so I did engineering. After engineering, I took up a tech job because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then I really loved this girl, but I didn't have the guts to tell my parents I loved her. So I married somebody else. And then I had kids with somebody. I mean, I had kids with that same wife, but I had kids. And then I started worrying about my kids' education. And then I started worrying about all of that. So then God says, yeah, all of that is cool. It's necessary. But what did you do with your life? Nothing much, Just read the newspaper, went to work, came back, watched television and went to sleep. That's about it. So then God says, you idiot. I sent you to probably the most awesome thing in the universe. And you just went there and wasted your life and came back. Just wasted it. That's an answer that you should never, ever give. Just remember that everyone in this room is going to be dead in the next 60 years. Right? Dead. Over. You'll be beneath this ground. So the fact is, each one of us has to die. Nobody is immortal. And if we have to die, and there is a super, super, super strong time watch that is ticking every second that you breathe. Every second you breathe, you're getting closer to death. That's the only truth, that we all have to die. Since we all have to die, it's extremely important that we treat this life as a gift. Because you do not want to be 70 years old, sitting on the deathbed, and your nurse comes in and says, you know what, you got probably 5 minutes left. You're going to die any moment now. You have any regrets? And be like, oh shit, this is it, I'm gone, I'm going to go now? Like, I'm going to die, it's over? Like, yeah, you're done. And you're like, shit, I wanted to jump off that plane and I didn't do that. I wanted to go beneath the seas and I didn't do that. I wanted to travel and I didn't do that. I wanted to fall in love and I didn't do that. I wanted to hang out with my friends and I didn't do that. I just wasted my life. Just remember that when your nurse comes and says, do you have any regrets? You say, no, I've lived my life to the fullest and to the best of my capabilities, and I'm ready to go now. That should be your answer. All right, so let's get started. That was a long enough introduction. There? All right. Could we just make it? Oh, yeah. Okay. So most of you must have seen this talk on YouTube, but it's a modified version, and I think this talk is really important because it sets the premise for what I just spoke about. So when I was in college and school, everyone around me always taught me this one word: think. They said, in life you cannot get ahead anywhere without this one word. And I was like, what? This one word is causing more harm in my life than anything else. But then I came across these two words. And one sec. Then I came across these two words, and I soon realized that these two words are really helping me do what I want to do. So I'm going to tell you guys this story and tell you how these two words can actually help you do what you want to do. So when I was in school, I used to think before I raised my hand to ask a question. Now, don't think that's a funny thing. When I ask you guys to ask me a question, all of y'all are going to end up thinking. Trust me on that. I used to think before answering the questions in my own words. I used to think before doing anything out of the box. All of that thinking got me into a lot of trouble because I actually didn't end up doing anything at all. But then in the 12th standard, I became extremely fascinated by the concept of filmmaking. The fact that you can take a small little handycam and show the rest of the world what's inside your head, I thought that was really, really cool. So I started making short films with my dog, my cat, my mom, whoever was willing to act in them, and started showing it to whoever was willing to watch them. So then, in the 12th standard, I came up with this really stupid idea that I wanted to be a filmmaker. Because in India, if you want to be anything other than an engineer or doctor, you're considered to be a terrorist, right? So I said, wow, I should be a filmmaker. So I went up to my mom and her best friend, aunty, and I told them that I want to be a filmmaker. And obviously they were not very happy because this is the expression they gave me. So who is this aunty character? Aunty is that element of society which always disses you, which always tells you that you can't do something, which always tells you, no, it's not possible. You gotta be an engineer or a doctor. You won't get dowry, you won't get a wife, and all that bullshit. So obviously I had an aunty too, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have aunty as well. And aunty does not have to be like an auntie. Aunty could be your parents, could be society, could be teachers, could be friends, could be your brothers, could be your sisters. Aunties are everywhere, trust me. It's just about figuring out who your auntie is and completely ignoring them. So obviously aunty was like, what's wrong with you? You're not going to be doing filmmaking. But the sad thing was, they made me do this. Maybe I won't be a successful filmmaker. Maybe I won't make enough money. Maybe my friends will all get to go for on-site and I won't. And all of that. This one word got me into a lot of trouble because it got me into this. Not that I have anything against engineering, but I hated it. Every minute, every second, every moment, I was like, what am I doing here? I really couldn't understand anything that was happening in engineering. The 4 years were really good. I failed a lot. And I soon realized that that one moment of failure is actually my biggest moment of success. You see, because I had never failed in my life until I joined engineering. And that's my biggest regret. Because my teachers in school didn't teach me how to fail. So when I got into engineering, there was no option but to fail. Because I just couldn't understand anything, right? But when I failed, I was liberated. I realized, wow, this is such a wonderful feeling. Because I have failed in something I really hate. That means I'm really cool at something else. And I should be happy. And I went out and celebrated and had a drink when I failed. Because that's when I realized that people can only fail in something if they're really bad at it. You cannot fail at something that you're interested in or you're good at. So if you're failing in something, if any of y'all are failing here, be happy, be proud. Because that means you're really, really good at something else. Whatever that is, you still have to discover it. So obviously I failed and my parents obviously were not too happy. But I was like, this is great. Now I don't have to worry about anything. I was chucked to the last bench. The teachers stopped giving a damn about me. When relatives used to come home, my parents would send me inside the room because you don't want to come out and tell your uncle, yeah, I'm a failure. So that was really cool that I didn't have to talk to any uncles or aunties about my marks. That's when I decided that I'm going to stop thinking so much. I picked up my handycam again and I started making all my films. And then I'm browsing the internet, and this is 2006, right? So I'm browsing the internet one day, and I see this one website with one big red button on it, and it says upload. And I'm like, wow, what is this website? And then the website basically tells me that if you click on upload and upload your film, the rest of the world can see it. And I was like, what? Is that really possible? I mean, I'm trying to make DVDs and trying to put them in VCRs and DVD players and trying to get 10 people to sit down and watch my films. You're telling me I have to just click upload and someone from like Argentina can see my film? Obviously, that website is now called youtube.com, which a lot of you use for other reasons. But imagine the awe of the first time I saw youtube.com. It's very easy to take all of these websites that you guys take for granted and think of them as frivolous, but they can change your lives. And that's what youtube.com did for me. I started uploading all my short films. People started watching it all across the world. They started telling me it's really good. And then it dawned on me, the greatest motivation in life comes when somebody whom you've never met, whom you've never seen, whom you've never spoken to, tells you that you're good at something. That is the greatest motivation in life. Because the people around you are always going to tell you, yeah, dude, wonderful, great job, that's damn good. Because they're trained to do that. Even if they hate you, they're going to tell you that. You remember that best friend of yours who gets really high marks? I hate him. I hate him for getting higher marks. But I have to tell him, dude, awesome job. You really killed it. This was great. Actually, I want to tell him, no, man. I'm not happy that you got higher marks than me. I'm not happy that I failed and you got like really top marks. But what if someone whom you've never met, never spoken to, or never even seen comes and tells you, I think you're doing a great job. That is the greatest motivation in life. And that's what the internet gives you. So in my first year of college, I started my first company, Last Minute Films, because I realized that everything in engineering happens at the last minute. But you know what? Everything in life happens at the last minute too. I'm not sure how true I am, but I think the ones who study in the last minute and manage to score good marks are more likely to be more successful than everybody else. I'll tell you why. In the real world, there is no time for preparation. You do not get time for 45 days to study for exams. You don't get that time. In the real world, your boss comes up to you and says, you know what? You have to give a presentation in front of 45 people tomorrow. It's a 60-slide presentation. You have 8 hours. And this presentation means that we'll get the client or not. Now, if you're used to studying 45 days before, and you like that time to study, and that last minute thing makes you nervous, and you're like, oh shit, if I study last minute, I will fail, then bro, welcome to the real world. Because in the real world, you just have 8 hours or 16 hours tops. And in those 16 hours or 8 hours, your life can change. One good presentation can get you a promotion. One good meeting can change your life. So don't ever be scared of doing things last minute, because pressure is the only thing that exists in real life. In the real life, there is no real time. So I started my film, Last Minute Films. That does not mean that you only study the last minute, but even then. So I started my film company, Last Minute Films. And then in 2007, I made this music video for this rock band called Pentagram. And this production company in Bombay saw the video, and they offered me a job to direct in my third year of college. So here I was actually getting a chance to live my dreams, because I was getting a chance to direct in my third year of college. So I called up mom, and obviously I know auntie always happens to be around. And I told them I'm dropping out. I'm leaving engineering. And obviously they were not too very happy. They were like, what's wrong with you? You can't drop out of engineering. Come back to Bangalore, finish your engineering, and then we'll see. So I did come back to Bangalore. I did finish my last year of engineering. And this is something that I say in every engineering college. It's not cool to drop out. So don't look at Zuckerberg and don't look at Bill Gates and say, you know what, those guys are cool and I'm going to drop out. No, That's the US and this is India. There, people assess your credibility. There, people assess your talent. Here, people assess your degrees, right? That's the sad part. So if you're in India, make sure you get a degree. Because if you don't get a degree and you drop out, trust me, in India, nobody gives a damn. Yeah, if you're living in the US, you drop out and you're really smart, everybody's going to be impressed. But in India, it does not work. So stop watching The Social Network and stop trying to drop out of engineering. It's not going to help you. So I did come back and finish my last year of engineering. But the moment I finished that, I decided from now on, there's no more thinking. I took a one-way bus ticket to Bombay and I landed up in that production company's office. And I asked them, do you still have the job for me? And luckily they did. And a couple of months later, they sent me to Chennai to direct this gentleman in a music video. And it was amazing because it was Mr. Rahman and I had just finished 4 years of telecommunication engineering and it was actually directing an Oscar winner in the music video. And I was shit scared, obviously. So when I walked up to him and he asked me what he should do, I suddenly realized that one of the most important things I learned in engineering was VIIT exams, right? I'll tell you why it's so important. Because you guys go to VIIT exams and when the person asks your question, right, lips are sealed. But guess what? Use that as a training ground to improve your personality. I know you'll never figure out the answers, neither could I. But what if you can mumble the lyrics of DDLJ for 5 minutes without stopping with utmost confidence? Or anything like that. To not be tongue-tied. Because I realized that I used to speak utter rubbish. But I should go on. I should go on for 2 minutes without stopping. And I should get like 2 marks, which is great because I was anyway going to end up with a 0, right? So that was really awesome. So I think VIIT exams are really important for you to figure out how you actually are going to end up in speaking in meetings or your presentations when you actually take up a job. Because trust me, you have no clue about what you're saying. It's all gibberish. When you actually go for real meetings, like this one that I'm doing right now, you have to speak so much gibberish that everybody in the audience believes he's making some sense, right? So it's extremely important that you can stand up in front of a few people and say something. Don't ever be quiet. Ever. That's extremely important for your personality. So I realized that VIIT exams really helped me to figure out what I had to tell Mr. Rahman, and I gave him like a 5-minute monologue on filmmaking, and he obviously was pretty impressed. And all he told me at the end of the shoot was, Varun, life is very short, and always do what you love, and always do what you believe in. A couple of months later, I was directing a music video with Preeti Zinta. This was, I think, 6 years back, so she looks much younger. And she refused to believe I was the director. So basically, I was 20 and I looked 15. And I hadn't met her till the day of the shoot. But we had spoken on the phone. And she thought that I was 40 or something. So I practiced how I'm going to speak to her in front of the mirror like 20 times. And I thought, damn, the moment I go speak to her, she'd want to marry me. So I practiced my entire speech. And I walked up to her trailer in the morning, and I just blurted out my entire speech. And she just looked at me and said, wow, that's great, but who's the director? And you cannot have a comeback to that. And I was like, wow, shit, I think I'm the director. And it took my producer, it took my cinematographer to come and tell her that, yeah, this kid is the director. Because the whole time she kept thinking that we're pulling an MTV Bakra on her. And she kept looking behind saying, where is the camera? Where is the camera? And I was like, no, there is no MTV Bakra. It's me. That's it. But this event was extremely important for me in my life because I soon realized that I was not equipped to handle something like this through textbooks. Here I was directing a movie star crew of 40 people who were twice my age, 20 kids, and the shoot had to get completed in 2 days. And no textbook in the world teaches you how to handle a situation like that. If you can get your drunk friend home at 3 a.m. without his mom coming to know, I think then you could at least try. So it's situations like these that define your life. It's situations like these that really make you confident. Have you seen this movie called The Zookeeper or The Zoo, Matt Damon, which says that all you need in life is 20 seconds of courage. And after that, everything becomes all right. 20 seconds of courage. Try it next time. Whenever you're in a situation where you're scared, where your feet are wobbling, where you can't speak, give yourself 20 seconds to get courage. 20 seconds. If you can be courageous for 20 seconds, it becomes so easy after that. So easy. Remember that girl whom you had a crush on and you always wanted to go and tell her that I have a crush on you? 20 seconds. Give it 20 seconds. And then it really doesn't matter if she says no. Trust me. But 20 seconds of courage is all you need in life. Because after that, your mind just takes over. Because your mind just needs that start for you to tell your mind, saying, I'm there. Don't worry. I'm right here. Let's just do this. 20 seconds. We're going to be here and we're going to do this. For example, if I was to call like one random person, come and say, speak for a minute. Just 20 seconds. 20 seconds, say something, and that's it. After that, you realize that you're talking to the crowd like easy. So 20 seconds of courage really helped me, and I managed to get through this shoot. But then I realized I really wanted to come back to Bangalore and do something on my own. And that's when accidentally the second part of my journey started, and that of Alma Mater, and it started in a bar. Obviously, a big disclaimer here, I'm not encouraging anyone to drink, or I'm not asking any of you students to drink. But my friends and I, we were getting drunk, and we were talking about school, and I realized that all great business ideas come when you're drunk, because when you're drunk, you have no inhibitions. You suddenly think of yourself as that 8-year-old kid who actually thinks that he's going to make a plane out of a piece of paper and it'll fly. So we were in that state, and we started missing school. And we passed out to this school called Vishwapreneur, and we realized that we didn't have any memory of our school. So we thought that we'll get sweatshirts made with the word Cottonian written on it, because we were called Cottonians. But we were drunk, right? So when you're drunk, anything is possible. So my friend and I, we were like, dude, why not this for every school and college in this country? Which is obviously a very stupid idea, considering there are a lot of schools and colleges in this country. So this was a grand business idea, to make merchandise for students of every school and college in this country. Now, the problem is that if we go and tell aunty about this idea, this is what's going to happen, right? So this is something that we're not going to do. But the problem was this. We didn't know anything about running a business. Where do you make t-shirts? What do you know about e-commerce? Where will you get your money from? Where will you do your printing? We didn't know anything. And this is what most people in our place would do, right? But 4 years of engineering, and they didn't teach me Microsoft Excel. Trust me, that's the only thing you need to know once you graduate. That's the only thing that's going to run your life for the next 30 years. It's sad, but we study all these technical subjects, but then you'd end up making $500,000 only because you know Microsoft Excel, right? In fact, at this stage, I just want to add that if any of y'all are planning to study abroad, an MBA, not an MS, an MBA, it's not about your marks, it's about your story. Just to give you an example, this friend of mine, he went to this college called RV College in Bangalore. He worked in Oracle for 2 years, and luckily he got into this one of the top MBA colleges in the US called Ross, which is in Michigan. He obviously studied there for 2 years, and unlike Indian colleges, they're not theory subjects and there are no practical exams as such. When he graduated, and when the time came for placements, you all have heard of McKinsey, right? McKinsey is the world's largest consulting firm, and they offer the highest paying jobs in the world. So he scored an interview with McKinsey. Now, in order to score an interview with McKinsey, you cannot just go to your placement officer and say, I need an interview with McKinsey. There is no placement officer. In order to score an interview with McKinsey, you got to lobby the guy who's coming to McKinsey. You got to find him on LinkedIn. You got to send him a request. You got to get his email ID and say, hey, I've heard that you're coming to Michigan for an interview. This is my name. Can we catch up for coffee sometime? And then you got to pester him and stalk him till he says yes. And then once you score an interview with McKinsey, it's actually nothing to do with your MBA degree or your studies. He'll probably end up talking about cars, or he'll end up talking about football or something completely random. And he's going to see how you can match up the conversation. Because the fact that you've gotten to Michigan means you're smart, right? He's not going to test your degree or your knowledge or your skills anymore. The fact that you got into Michigan is enough for him to know you're smart. Now he doesn't want to know whether you're smart or not. He wants to know whether you have the personality to work in the biggest company in the world. And then he talks you through that and all of that. And then he says that I need an NOC from you. Sorry, not an NOC. I need an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And guess what the NDA is? Basically, my friend cannot disclose his marks to the McKinsey guy. Because if he comes to know what his marks are, he may be biased. Because if he gets too high marks, he probably may not take him because he may think of him as a geek. Or if he gets too low marks, he may actually think that he's not good enough. They do not see your marks. They don't want to see your marks. In fact, you have to sign an NDA with them saying, I'm not going to disclose my marks to you. And if they come to know your marks, chances are you cannot get into McKinsey. And he got hired by McKinsey at a salary of 4.5 crores a year, obviously converted to Indian rupees. That is the way how you strike big in the job world, not by studying your ass off. Because studying your ass off can get you, a good job. All of that is fine. But if you want to make it big, you have to be a good manager. And to be a good manager, you need to have a good personality. And to have a good personality, you need to take decisions. So just remember, to which part of the ladder do you want to fall in? Do you want to be the guy that everyone bosses around? Or do you want to be the boss? So obviously, I was really worried because they didn't teach me Microsoft Excel. So then we decided to go back to our old friend, Don't Think. And we found this manufacturer friend in Tripur. And we ended up making some samples with the word Ketone written on it. And we showed up at Bishop Cotton's. We actually ended up selling 2,500 hoodies on the first day of the event, which is great, which completely validated our business idea. The best part was when all these Ketonians started wearing their merchandise and started moving around town, the students from other schools got insecure. And they started asking, where do you get that from? And all roads led to us. Yeah, FAPS is actually a school in Bangalore. So what happened was that we were forced to start an e-commerce company. And that's exactly what we did. We started this company called Alma in 2009, which is one of India's first e-commerce stores. And that's when the problem started. Because in 2009, e-commerce was completely different. People were not willing to use their credit card. Courier companies were not willing to offer cash on delivery. And people were scared to sign up with 22-year-olds. So now it's like super easy to start an e-commerce store. But in 2009, to start an e-commerce store was the toughest thing in the world because nobody thought people would want to buy online, which is a shame because now everybody just wants to buy online. And this is also a very important lesson to everyone sitting out here. If any of you all want to start an e-commerce store, then you're really dumb because it's saturated, it's gone, it's finished. Don't start something 5 years later that everybody else has done. Invent a new thing or start something which a trend is starting off. That's a true entrepreneur. A true entrepreneur does not follow the crowd and start something that 5,000 people have started already. So if any of you all are interested in starting an e-commerce company, I would say that means they're not truly an entrepreneur because an entrepreneur does not think that way. When we started this company, that's when all the problems started. Aunty called me a t-shirt salesman. My mom thought that I will not get any dowry. My friends were like, dude, what's wrong with you? Why don't you just get a regular job? And I was scared. I was really scared because I was like, what if I fail? And then I realized, but I've already failed and nothing worse happened, right? I failed in engineering and nothing really bad happened. See now why it's important to fail? Because I failed in engineering, it gave me the guts to do this. Had I not failed then, I'd always been scared of failure. This is the importance of failing. And that's the reason why I was stressing on failing. Not failing purposely. That would be dumb and that would be stupid. Don't fail just because I told you to fail. Right? But fail because, well, you just tried your best and you couldn't help it and you failed. Right? So that lesson really helped me because here I was taking a life decision. I was like, yeah, man, I failed. But who the hell cares? You have a short life. I'm going to die anyways. I'd rather do something that I love, right? So we started Alma Mater and things began to improve. And we got featured in a lot of newspapers and articles. And we even got featured on the cover of India Today. And this is where Alma Mater is today. It's been 5 years since we've been running the company. We've worked with around 7,000 schools and colleges in over 400 different cities in India with a turnover of $2 million. And all of this was because of Don't Think. But you know what is the coolest thing? The coolest thing was not all the money, not all these schools and colleges we made, not that we made this massive business out of it. The coolest thing was my friend and I were sitting in that same bar like a year later and we saw this random kid walk past us wearing the Ketonian sweatshirt. That is true happiness. That is true happiness. Wherever you can find that, no amount of money, not a bank balance, no cars, no amount of girls can give you happiness when you have proved something to yourself, not somebody else, because that's the moment when you look at your own self in the mirror and say, yeah, I did something that I wanted to do, not something that somebody else wanted me to do. In the meantime, we kept Last Minute Films running, and we ended up with over 1 million views on our channel. And we actually started a sub-channel called the Entu Cutlets. And you must have seen the new Anu Aunty music video that's come out of that. If you haven't, you should check it out. It raked up 1 million views in just 4 days. So, and the best part was we started monetizing our YouTube videos. So now we get paid every time people watch our videos, which is an important lesson, because if you think there is no money in something, money will come later. I started my Last Minute Films channel 10 years back thinking, I'll never get paid, but I'm getting paid a lot now through something that I never imagined. Don't chase money. Never chase money. Chase passion, and money will start chasing you in ways you can never imagine. Trust me on that. It chases you in ways you can never imagine. I come to the last part of my journey now, and that of being a writer. So this Anu Aunty was a really, really big obstacle in my life, right? And we had to do something about her. So I started writing a lot of blogs about Anu Aunty. And then people started writing back to me saying, dude, your Anu Aunty is like my Anu Aunty. And yeah, that's totally true. So then somebody suggested that you should write a book about Anu Aunty. So then I Googled how to write a book. Because I'm not a writer, I'm not an author. Obviously, I need to figure out how to write this book thing. So I Googled how to write a book. And it said you need 60,000 words in order to write a book. I think that's all the words I've written in my entire life combined. 60,000 words is, wow, it's a lot of words. I've never seen that word count in Microsoft Word ever. But still, I decided to give it a shot because, Anu Aunty was such a strong element. So I gave it a shot, and surprisingly, I did end up writing 60,000 words. And I sent it to the first publisher that showed up on Google. And they said, yeah, we'll publish a book. So the book is called How I Brained Anu Aunty and Co-Founded $1 Million Company. What it did was, it turned our biggest enemy into our brand ambassador. So we started selling more t-shirts because of Anu Aunty. Because now people would buy the book, they would read it and say, wow, I love Anu Aunty, and I'm going to order from Alma because of Anu Aunty. So that is what true entrepreneurship is about. It's taking an obstacle and turning an opportunity out of that obstacle. The book got really popular. It got into the bestsellers list everywhere, and it sold 3 lakh copies. And I found an auto guy in Bangalore selling my book, which is great. And now they're making a Bollywood film out of it, which will be announced soon. So I now come to the last part of my journey. It's a story which I'm sure if you've seen the talk, you know the story, but I'd really like to tell the story again all the time. It's about these 2 guys, Rajat and Ashok. They went to IIT in the 80s, graduated, really successful, went on to study at Harvard Business School. Again, got out there with top marks. Ashok went on to work with this company called Apple then. Rajat went on to work with a consulting firm. This was the 80s. They lost touch because there was no email as such. So Rajat recently came down to Calcutta for a business meeting. His car broke down and they took him to this garage. And they found the guy who was repairing his car was Ashok. So Rajat was shocked. He was like, what are you doing here, man? I mean, you were smarter than me. You scored higher marks than me in Harvard. And you're a mechanic? What happened to your life? So Ashok told him his story. He said, I worked with Apple for 2 years, but my real passion was automobiles. So I came back to India, started a company that increased fuel efficiency in automobiles, sold that for a few $1 million, then started this garage because the only thing that really made me happy in life was to repair cars with my very own hands. That's the only thing that made me go to sleep at night. Rajat was the one telling me the story. He said, you know what, I'm 65 years old. I'm the vice president of my company. I have cars, I have bank balance, I have everything. My only regret in life is that I didn't have a life that I wanted to live. I lived a life that somebody else wanted me to live. And all I have to say is, don't ever give up on your dreams and don't think. Thank you. Anybody has any questions? Oh, great. People are not scared to raise their hands. Oh, no, we can do it right here. Yeah. Can we have the mic to go around somebody?
What moment changed your life?
What moment?
Yeah.
When I saw YouTube.com. I think that definitely changed my life.
Hi, I am a huge fan. I don't have a question, I just have a request. Will you sign my book?
Oh yeah, of course I'll do. In fact, I think we have a signing thing after this, so I'm definitely around.
Okay.
So don't
Thank
worry.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir. Can I come and have a selfie with you,
Now?
please?
Yeah, we could definitely do it later when we're signing the books.
Okay, no
Because
problem.
then
Thank
I
you.
don't want everybody to ask for selfies.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. Sir, how many unknowns did you face in your life?
Oh, I just face one, man. But I think people face a lot. It's all about ignoring them completely. So yeah, no aunties are everywhere.
Thank you, sir.
Myself Rajat Kurkute. I wanted to ask you that how did you got an idea that the name Alma Mater, from which thing you got that idea?
Oh, Alma Mater basically means, it's Latin. And it actually basically means your mother. But in contemporary terms, it stands for the college or school you studied in. So your alma mater is VIIT, right? VIIT. So any school or college you study from, that's referred to as alma mater. So that's how we came across the name.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. I am Swapnil from Ahmednagar. Sir, I would like to ask you how you manage your time for your family along with your busy schedule, and if in case any important moment of your family comes in front of you along with your busy schedule of your work, what do you like to prefer first?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I don't know, man. I think in the last 5 years, I'd like to be honest, I don't think I've given that much time to my family that I could have. But I guess every moment of life has its phases. I remember, I think I gave only time to my family for the first 21 years of my life, right? Because I had no other choice. But 21 to 28, I think I gave them less time because I was working. But I guess that is fine because, like I said, life moves in phases. Moms can ask the same question saying, you used to give me all your time, but now that your wife is here, you don't talk to me at all, right? So I guess it's all about figuring out in what phase you're doing what. I wouldn't say that you should completely ignore family and not give time to them at all. It's very important to have a work-life balance. But when you're an entrepreneur and when you have so many things on your head, it's not easy. I'd say don't get a girlfriend when you're an entrepreneur. Chances are she's going to break up with you. Don't get married very soon. You can probably get married when you're 32, 31, 32. But again, it really depends on how you define your relationship, right? For me, my parents are just happy seeing me doing what I love. For them, that is happiness. So, in fact, what would be worse is that I'm giving them all my time doing what I hate. So, your moments with family or your moments with friends are extremely important. Never let go of them. But at the same time, I don't think that should be a priority between 22 to 30, because this is the time you're trying to build a career. Because after 30, anyway, it's all about family and it's all about friends. So between 22 to 30, really focus on yourself rather than people around you. No, that's fine. I'm fine. Yeah.
Hi Varun, my name is Devyani. I want to ask that the guy who co-founded the company with you, Ron, why isn't he everywhere with you? Like, you are here because of Alma Mater or the journey you had?
Oh, he hates speaking and he hates being around people and he hates talking. That's the reason why he's not around. And I think from very early on, we had established that relationship where I represent the company, I speak about everything while, he figures out what's being done when I'm not there. So I think that can only happen when you start a company with your friend, right? Because that's the understanding we had. And because we've always done things together, it was a thing that we knew that we're going to do. And obviously, it depends on people's personalities, right? Like for him, it's damn weird coming and talking about himself. I love talking about it. I love being shameless. I love selling my company like how I'm doing right now. So it's all about who likes what. So yeah.
Were there no clashes between you?
Were there? Oh yeah, lots every day. Yeah, but that's what makes it good, right? If there were no clashes and everything is fine, that means something is wrong. You can't agree upon anything. There has to be enough fights, enough differences for things to go right.
Hello, Varun. Oh yeah. You just talked about how to discover passion just before showing the video. So can you emphasize more on that? How do we discover our passion?
That's a good question. I mean, I did tell you guys how to discover your
Sorry
passion.
to interrupt. Right now, I've completed my engineering. I'm doing a job, and I hardly have some time. But I'm not happy with the job right now. I'm truly confused. And as you just said, that it is very scared to be. It is not a good sign that you're confused in this age. So can you just elaborate more on that?
No. I didn't say it's bad that you're confused at this age. It's very normal to be confused at this age. But if you're confused at this age and you're not doing anything about that, then that's bad. Like I said, I don't know, man. You should know how you can discover yourself. I went traveling. For 1 year, I just disappeared because I just wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. And I don't know if that works for you, but like I said, know what helps you discover yourself. If that is traveling or if it's watching a lot of movies, watching a lot of movies really helps. Like watching a lot of good films, not shitty films. Watching a lot of good films really helps to discover yourself. Listen to music, writing, I don't know, write poetry, write a lot, vent out your frustration, express yourself somewhere, write blogs. You have to figure what works for you. For every person, it's something else. But for majority of them, I've seen traveling, right? I don't know, take off, go for a month somewhere, just by yourself, see if that works. That doesn't work, start writing, see if that works. See what works for you to figure out what you really want to do in life. And then take classes. Join a guitar class, see if you're a good musician. Join a speaking class, see if you're a good orator. Join 100 classes, see what you're good at, see what you like. Discover, get out of your house, start doing things. If you're just going to stand up and ask me a question, how do I discover? That's not the answer. You need to get out there, and it's so easy for you guys. All you have to do is go on Google, type something, and the result shows up. When I was there, we had to actually call people, find out from references to see if you can get a class to do something that we like. Yeah, you can. If you want to be a musician, you can get 1,000 classes just right outside your college. So Google it, figure out what you want to do, try 100 things, and then one thing will click, right? And probably you'll end up being a scuba diver in Thailand. Who knows?
Good morning. I am Yash Agrawal.
I can't see you, man. Raise your hand.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Yash Agrawal, and my question is, I love traveling and I want to travel whole world, but I don't know, where will this money come from? And even my mom don't permit me.
That is such an Indian question. I don't have money. I can't travel. You know how much it takes to probably go into any one of the small things around Maharashtra? Probably 2,000 rupees. With bus ticket, with everything. 2,000 rupees. I have traveled around Karnataka for 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees. Just the bus ticket, living in the cheapest of places, backpack, nothing but nature in me. Right? So don't ever give an excuse that I don't have money to travel. That means you do not like traveling. You want to party when you travel. Right? I said traveling and holidaying are two different things. Don't mix them. Traveling and holidaying are two different things. You guys know about Steve Jobs, right? How he showed up in India and stayed here for 3 months. And this was in the 70s. Imagine a guy from the US, no access to clean water, no access to drinking water, eating food that he's never eaten, super spicy, getting sick every single day. But he did it because he wanted to see things. And that experience of traveling made him realize that he wants to go back and do something phenomenal. And he started Apple, right? Traveling is not holidaying. The moment you say, I do not have money to travel, means you do not actually like traveling. So figure out what you really like, right? Or actually go out there, take your money, travel alone and see if you like it. It's not for everyone. I'm telling you guys, it's not for everyone. You don't have to do it by compulsion. But it's something that's acquired. Do it once, do it twice, do it thrice. And then you realize nature is the best of things. Trust me, it's the best thing in the world. It's nothing more beautiful than that.
Hey, Varun over here in the back.
Yeah.
I'm Onkar. Let's say I've discovered my passion. Just a scenario. And there are lots of Anu aunties telling me to get some job experience. And this question came up yesterday too. That should I wait to get some experience in the industry and then start my own venture? Or should I start right now? I'm in my final year of engineering.
Should I, what, bro? Experience in what?
A job, maybe. And
that give you experiences for what?
The corporate structure, how people work around and stuff like that. People are telling me that you should get experience. Yesterday there was a panel sitting here and they said that you should kind of get an experience. So what is your say on that?
So how did Steve Jobs start Apple? He doesn't even know how to code. how did Mark Zuckerberg be the CEO of Facebook? He's never been a CEO before. He's never worked in a company before. How did the Flipkart guys end up being CEO? They don't know how to be a CEO. The corporate structure that you'll know is at the very basic level, right? How will you have the power to hire a VP, right? And you're the CEO and you're 24, right? Yeah. I think experiences can be gained. You don't necessarily have to get experience. If you're a powerful person, if you're strong enough, you can get anything. Also, it's very important that if you want to be an entrepreneur, there's certain skill sets that you need automatically. Those skill sets are not necessarily textbook skill sets. Those skill sets are leadership skill sets. You need to be a good speaker because you'll be speaking to your employees. You need to be a great decision maker because you're going to be making decisions. You need to be a real hustler because you got to get people to write about you, talk about you, speak about you. You got to be a people's person. Being a CEO is all about just dealing with people. You know what a massive thing that is, dealing with people, figuring out what is the strength and what is the weakness in a person and bringing out the best in him. That's exactly what Steve Jobs did all his life. He dealt with people, nothing else. If you ask me, what was Steve Jobs' biggest skill? He knew how to deal with people. That is what a CEO is. So who's going to teach you that in the company, right? So again, figure out where you're heading and whether you need, experience for that. What if you end up as a stand-up comedian in 10 years? Then all this experience goes to waste, right? I'd say figure out what you like and get busy. That's it.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
Okay. You are saying repeatedly that don't think, but how to make it a habit? Don't think. Because before not thinking, I think.
Everybody, I didn't say stop thinking, switch off your brain or something like that. I said when time comes to take the leap, imagine imagine there's a huge gap here and you need to go to the other side and the gap goes 1,000 feet and you got to jump to the other side. So when you're taking that jump, then don't think, right? So it's extremely important that when life, basically, don't think means take decisions. Take decisions. And take hard decisions and stand by those decisions. In fact, I was having this discussion with Principal Ma'am earlier as well. We are never taught how to take decisions. You know why? Because our parents take our decisions. Don't let them decide for you, man. You're 18 years old enough to do anything you want. You've been given the right to vote. You're deciding the future of this country and you can't decide anything for yourself. That's shameless, right? So make sure you take your own decisions. Your parents are great, but you're old enough to take your own decisions, whatever that is. So yeah, just learn how to take decisions.
Hello, Varun. My name is Sarang.
Can you, yeah.
I just wanted to ask you a question. If you had a chance to start your career over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, dude, I'm very, very happy with what I'm doing. Trust me, I have no regrets in anything. In fact, I'll never have regrets in anything I do. Even if tomorrow all of this goes away, I'll be so happy because I had the journey, right? For me, it's not about the result. It's always the journey. So if all of this just goes away suddenly tomorrow, I'll probably do something else. But I'll always remember this as the most beautiful moment of my life because of the journey. Stop getting worried of what the end goal is. The end goal is death. That's the end goal. We all have to die. So it's the journey. Enjoy this journey and just, take happiness in that.
Okay. Last two questions. Two questions.
My question.
Yeah.
Hi Varun, I am Nitali. Actually, I hate studies. So,
me too.
According to you, which are the most important factors to become successful in life?
How do you define success?
Success is the most. It's a
okay.
What
to you would be success?
I want your answer. Actually, I'm just so confused.
No, that's fine.
Don't
feel shy. What for you is is a successful person? Lots of money?
No.
Then?
Happiness.
Yeah, that's
happiness
true success.
In a work in.
And to be really happy, you have to really do what you love. I'm just going to tell you a small story. The reason why I'm telling this story is, in fact, I've faced this question a lot of times in a lot of other colleges. they stand up and say, Varun, you come from a middle class family, you have your parents backing, your parents can support you. I don't have that. I need to support my family, and I need to make sure that I put food on the table. So I can't do what you're doing. So I need to tell you the story about this guy, Vicky. This guy, Vicky, he's a good friend of mine. He was born to a very poor family. You can sit down. You can sit down. He was born to a very poor family, and he left his home at the age of 8 because his relatives used to beat him up a lot. And he ended up in the New Delhi railway station, and he started working as a rag picker to collect all the waste. Remember that KFC burger that you eat half and throw in the dustbin? Vicky would be the guy who would come and eat it because he didn't have access to food. Vicky used to really get beaten up by the police, by people around. It's a tough life living in a railway station. Luckily, 3 years later, I think when he was 14, he got picked up by an NGO who managed to give him a basic education and 1 meal a day. And 2-3 years later, they found him a job of carrying tripods for cameramen, which would get him like 200 rupees a day or something like that. And that's not every day, obviously. Not like Vicky's life had changed. He was still living on the streets. He was still destitute. He would still have only 1 meal a day. Then there was this German photographer whom he started carrying the tripod for, and who started showing Vicky how to take photos. And Vicky got damn excited by it because he really wanted to tell his story through photographs. And he started trying to understand how to use photography. But Vicky didn't have education, right? So he didn't know numericals. He didn't know alphabets. He didn't know what an f-stop meant. He didn't know how to read what's coming on the camera frame. So this guy gave him that basic numerical and alphabetical education for him to understand how photography works. And Vicky took it up because he loved it. He was passionate. Everything worked against him. He didn't have a camera. He didn't have a life. He didn't have a meal. But he was like, at least I have this. This is making me happy. And he managed to learn photography. And he started taking a lot of photographs. 2 years ago, Vicky was one of the 6 people selected all over the world to shoot the reconstruction of the World Trade Center. And he was the only young Indian invited to have tea with the Queen at the Buckingham Palace. And Vicky now he earns 2 lakh rupees a month through his photography work. That's 24 lakhs a year from having no meals, no education. So this is true success. This is true passion. This is true belief in actually figuring out what life is about and what I was telling you guys about. So all of y'all are going to go back and say, good speech. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. It doesn't work for us. That would be your biggest mistake today. If you walk out of this room and you say, whatever, I got to live my life. It's great. Just remember that stopwatch is ticking every second and taking you closer to death every second. Any other question?
When we were listening to you, especially introduction, it was really matured thinking. And we have also learned many things from you. I think you must be hardly 27, 28. How this maturity has come to you? You read a lot or you watch videos?
Oh yeah, I believe the one who does not read is no better than one who cannot read. Just make sure you remember that. The one who does not read is no better than one who cannot read. So all you guys, if you don't read, right, is as good as being illiterate. That means there is no point of your parents sending you to schools or colleges because you're no better than that guy on the road who does not know how to read. A person who does not read is probably doing the biggest sin, the biggest crime in the world. So I believe reading is extremely important.
So because youngsters, they don't read nowadays.
Well, I don't blame them with the kind of distractions around. You probably wouldn't want to read. But I don't know, man. All I have to say is if you don't read, it's probably the biggest sin ever. Reading is the gift. It's literature, poetry, music, cinema. These are the things that makes us humans. If you've seen Dead Poets Society, I mean, this is what Mr. Keating says, right? Oh, Captain, my Captain, what is life without the finer things? So just remember, if you do not pursue what man has accomplished, I mean, you should be able to appreciate a great painting. You should be able to stand in front of a great painting, look at it and appreciate it. Because that's what makes us human. Not just solving a great mathematical equation. That's great. But it's the arts, it's the culture, it's literature. These are the things that really makes us closer to God, closer to being a human being, and not a mechanical robot, right? Do not end up your life as a mechanical robot who's just walking in one direction with blinders on, has no appreciation for arts, no appreciation for anything that is beautiful, and no appreciation for history. Why do you think all our monuments are destroyed? Why do you think we're so rude? Why do you think we spit on our roads? Because we're living like robots. We do not appreciate the finer things in life. We do not appreciate all of that. If you go abroad, like, you'll notice a guy would never throw something on the road. Never. Because he loves his city. You know why? Because he appreciates beauty. He appreciates beauty. And if you appreciate beauty, you appreciate poetry, you appreciate art, that's when this nation will truly become what it's supposed to be. And that's what we should strive towards. Thank you.
First things first, you're an idiot. Career choices, they are limited. But this is middle class life. Engineer degree means good wife. You should want job choices like he. Stable future at an MNC. IIT, NIT, MIT. Those three letters make your mommy happy. Follow the pack like my little motu. You want a big package or a chotu? What will mom say at a kitty party? You're a photographer, hi, not a techie. I know, aunty, you already know. Engineer or doctor, that's not what I wanna do, bro.
I said, auntie, I do this. It's time that you knew this. I won't work all day, don't want MBA. Entrepreneur, repeat after me. Desire to make my own company. I'm young and have time. If I get funding, I'm fine. I might even fail and put my life on the line. But I would do what you want just to find a BV. I need a life a bit more than I need a CV.
I say, beta, don't be vela. I know you will fail and be a gully kakutta. Doctor, engineer means lot of money. Then mommy and papa, no stress for dowry.
You need some MBBS to earn that rupee. Otherwise, how will I match your kundali? Kundali.
I know, auntie, you already know. You're Doordarshan, but I'm a bit more YouTube, yo.
Alright, it's starting to really get silly in here. You got me feeling sick, I think I need penicillin here. Before you try and take control of my definitive years. Now why look for a job when I can build a career? And then they tell you that it's only gotta do with luck. Matter of fact, it only happens to the few with guts. You probably earn more than I do now, 10 times at best. But I'd rather be the lunchbox than Chennai Express. One thing that really confuses and bothers me now is you want me to stand out as a man, but tell me to follow the crowd. And honestly, I really don't think I'll ignore the girls, but I don't wanna get married till I explore the world. And what I'm about to say